Have you ever felt like the walls have ears? Like they are finally starting to talk? Like the universe just decided to turn up the volume on a conversation you were never supposed to hear? Because that's exactly what just happened. And it involves you. Two people just accidentally revealed a secret about you, and neither one of them meant to say a single word. Two people just let a secret slip about you, and here's the kicker. They didn't even mean to. This wasn't a planned conversation. This wasn't something that was brought up on purpose. This was one of those moments where two people are just talking casually about completely different things, and then somehow your name comes up. And once it did, something shifted in that conversation. Something cracked open. This isn't just gossip. It's a revelation that's been brewing behind your back. Because what they said about you wasn't surface level. It wasn't they seem cool. What they said was the kind of thing people only admit out loud when they forget to keep it inside. It was like they were holding a hot coal. They had to drop it, and it just happened to land right in front of you. And what came out of that conversation is something that is absolutely driving them crazy right now. Like actually driving them crazy. And I need to tell you what it was. They thought they were being discreet, but the universe had other plans for your story today. So, here is what happened. These two people, they were not sitting down with the intention of talking about you. Your name just kind of drifted in. A casual mention. Nothing heavy, but then one of them said something specific. Something really, really specific about you, about the way you've been lately, about something they noticed, and the other person didn't push back, didn't question it, didn't go, I don't know, really. They stopped. They paused. Not because it was wrong, because it was so accurate, it almost felt uncomfortable. Like when someone names something you've been feeling but haven't had words for. That's the kind of pause it was. And then instead of changing the subject, they leaned in. They added to it. They said, you know what? I've been noticing that too. And that's when it became something bigger than just two people talking. Something bigger. That's when it became confirmation. Because when one person notices something about you, that could just be their perspective, their projection, their particular lens. But when two people who haven't been comparing notes suddenly arrive at the exact same place independently, that's not coincidence, that's real. You've been playing it cool, but this secret is literally driving them up the wall. And what they both independently noticed, what they both landed on without any coordination, was your energy. The way it's changed, the way you carry yourself differently now, the way There is something about you that feels more settled, more grounded, more like you've stopped apologizing for taking up space. They couldn't fully explain it. Neither of them had the exact words for it, but they both felt it. And the fact that they felt it at the same time, out loud, together, for the first time, that's what made it feel like a secret being spoken, a truth that had been living in both of them separately, finally finds its way into the air between them. I need you to listen closely, because this isn't what you'd expect to hear about yourself. And here is the part that gets really interesting. Because as they kept talking, they started going deeper. They started trying to understand it. Not just they seem different, but why? What changed? What is specifically changed? Because something about you has been pulling at their attention in a way they cannot fully put their finger on. And that is what's been driving them absolutely crazy. They were talking about you, about your vibe, and let's just say they couldn't keep their story straight. The pull is there, the awareness is there, but they cannot name it clearly. And when you cannot name something that affects you this strongly, it takes up more space in your head, not less. It loops. It keeps coming back, and you find yourself thinking about it in random moments in the middle of a different conversation while you are trying to focus on something else entirely. And there it is again. That thing about that person, that pull, that thing you cannot explain, this secret is the reason why the energy around you has felt so off lately. And they talked about the way you've been through, the way you've been moving through the world lately, how you're not chasing anything the way you used to, how you're not performing for rooms the way some people do, how when you walk into a space, something shifts in that space, and you are not even trying to make that happen. It just does. That kind of presence is rare. Most people spend so much time, so much energy managing how they are being perceived, adjusting themselves in real time, making themselves easier, smaller, more digestible. You stopped doing that. Maybe you didn't even notice you stopped, but they noticed. They both noticed. And that is what triggers this whole conversation in the first place. One of them said something like, "There is something about them I just cannot explain." And the other one didn't even hesitate. They said, "Yeah, yes, exactly." Just like that. Because they had already been sitting with that feeling. They had already been aware of this thing they couldn't name. And hearing it said out loud by someone else felt like relief. Like, okay, it's not just me. This is actually real. This is actually something. And I want you to understand what it means when someone cannot explain the pull they feel toward you. Because here is the thing. People can be physically attracted to someone and manage that just fine. That's comfortable territory, that's familiar. But when the pool is deeper than that, when it's about your energy, your presence, the specific way you exist in a room, the way you make people feel things they didn't plan to feel, that's when it gets complicated. That's when it starts living rent-free in someone's head. That's the kind of thing that interrupts your day, that pops up when you're in a meeting or trying to fall asleep or having a completely normal conversation about something totally unrelated. And that specific, inconvenient, relentless kind of thinking about someone, that doesn't happen about someone you're casual about. Now, here's where it gets real specific, because this isn't just about general admiration from a distance. There is at least one person in this dynamic, and you probably already have a sense of who has been carrying something much heavier than they are showing on the outside. On the outside, they look composed, controlled, like they have it all together when it comes to you, like they are unbothered, like whatever this is between you two, they can handle it. But underneath the composure they are maintaining on the surface, a completely different story is running. The feelings are real. They thinking about you is real. The awareness that something shifted from whatever this started as, whatever label they put on it in the beginning. That awareness is real, and none of it is showing the way it's actually running inside them. Because this didn't start this way. This started with a different energy. Something lighter. Something they felt like they could manage. Something they thought they had defined edges. And then the more they were around you, the more they watched you, the more they experienced your specific way of being, the feelings grew past the edges, way past them. And now they are sitting with something they didn't sign up for, and they genuinely don't know what to do with it yet. Because here's the uncomfortable truth they are bumping up against. You cannot think about someone this frequently, this specifically, this intensely, and then honestly tell yourself it's nothing. Somewhere in there, they know what this frequency means, and that knowledge is making everything more complicated. So what did they do with it? They did what people do when they have feelings that got bigger than they planned for. They pulled back a little, created some distance, not because they wanted to create a distance, because they were scared of how much they did want to. They didn't want to. And in that pulling back, they were watching that you would do what you would do, watching whether you would scramble, watching whether you would feel the silence with anxiety, with chasing, with needing their attention to confirm your own sense of self. And you didn't. You just kept moving, you kept living your own life, building your own things, existing in your own direction like you genuinely had somewhere to be. You didn't perform indifference. That would have been obvious. You were just actually okay. You were actually in your own lane. And when they watched that, something happened to them that they were not prepared for. Relief, real physical, involuntary relief. The kind that releases in your chest, the kind you cannot fake and cannot manufacture. And I need you to understand something about that kind of relief. You don't feel it about someone you are keeping at arm's length. You don't feel your whole body loosen about someone you are genuinely casual about. You feel that specific kind of relief when something that already mattered to you deeply turned out to be safe. Let me stop here. When something you'd already quietly, privately started to value turned out to be trustworthy, that relief told on them completely. In one moment, one physical reaction they didn't choose, it revealed exactly how deep they already were before any of this was named out loud. You were not supposed to find out this way, but honestly, it's better that you did, because now you finally have the answer to why they have been acting so strange. They were not watching you from a detached place. They were watching from a terrified one, terrified of losing something they had already, without realizing it, started to love. The distance they created wasn't about not caring. It was the opposite of not caring. It was someone trying to protect themselves from how much they care about something they haven't secured yet. And now they are sitting inside all of that, the acknowledgement that they are this far in, that the casual framing has been a kind of lie, not intentionally, not to deceive you, but to protect themselves. That they let themselves fall before they had any confirmation that falling was safe, and they haven't said one honest word to you about any of it yet. They are obsessed with a side of you that you've been trying to keep hidden. They are obsessed with the version of you that doesn't need their validation. And that paradox is eating them alive. I said it gently. What they are carrying privately right now is the knowledge that they want something permanent with you. Not someday. No, not we will see how things go. In their own internal world, they have already decided that this is serious, that this is real, that this is something they want to keep. Every single thing they are doing, the watching, the testing, the hiding, the composure, all of it is coming from a person who is already privately, completely in their own head decided. They just haven't found the courage yet to let the outside match the inside. It's not that they are trying to hurt you. No. They are just overwhelmed by who you are becoming. And watching you become that person is exactly what's pushing them closer to the edge of honesty. And this is the part where I need to talk about you. Because this entire situation exists because of you. Not because of luck, not because of timing, not because of anything you strategically did. Because of who you actually are. The drive you have, the way you move through your life like you have somewhere to be, something to build, something real you are working toward. The way you don't wait around for people to validate your ambitions before you pursue them. The way you exist with this self-possession that most people spend their whole lives trying to manufacture, and you just have naturally, like it's just who you are. That specific thing about you is what broke them open. That's what took whatever label they started with and quietly, completely turned it into something they couldn't put a casual name on anymore. Your drive is what did this to them. The way you move through the world without needing anyone to approve it or make space for it or tell you it's okay to want what you want. That is magnetic in a way that is genuinely rare. And when someone who is used to being the driven one, the focused one, the person with the most energy in the room, encounters someone whose energy matches theirs or exceeds it without effort, without trying to prove anything, something breaks open in them that they were not expecting. Something that started as curiosity becomes fascination. Something that started as attraction becomes recognition. Something that started as this is fun becomes, wait, this is different from anything else I've felt. You got to a place in them that they had lucked. And you didn't pick the luck. You didn't have a strategy. You didn't try to get there. You just showed up as yourself and walked straight through the door. And now they don't know how to close it again. And that is what's driving them absolutely crazy. Just imagine their faces when they are realized the cat was out on the back of the bag. Imagine the panic that set in when they realized they couldn't unsay what they had just admitted to each other. That's the level of internal chaos we are dealing with here. Here is what I want you to hear, because this is the thing that matters most. The version of you, the one that keeps building, keeps moving, keeps showing up fully in his own direction without waiting for someone to hand their permission. Don't change you. Don't soften the edges. Don't make yourself smaller or quieter or more convenient. Don't put that what you are building on pause for someone who hasn't had the courage to be honest with you yet. Because that version of you, exactly as it is the entire reason this exists. The energy that's driving them crazy, the pull they cannot explain to themselves, to each other, that thing that made a conversation that started casual, suddenly become something real and vulnerable. and loud in a quiet room. That's all coming from you, just you being you. And somewhere in yourself, I think you already know something is different about this. You have had moments where you felt it. Trust your gut. Trust yourself. Whereas something underneath the surface said, this isn't nothing. Where your gut said, they see you in a specific way. There is something running here that hasn't been named out loud yet. That wasn't your imagination. That wasn't you projecting what you wanted onto something that wasn't there. That was your perception working perfectly, picking up on something true before you had the evidence to confirm it. This information is a game changer for how you view your circle. I said it gently. You will never look at these two people or the space between you the same way again. And that is a good thing. And the evidence is building. Yeah, the silence between you and this person, whatever distance has existed, whatever surface level casualness has been maintained, that's going to change. Something's coming. A reach out, a message, a moment where they finally let the outside match a little bit of what's been running on the inside. And when it comes, it might not look dramatic at first. It might look like almost small. A question, a check-in, something that seems almost casual in its delivery. Don't mistake the smallness of the first move for uncertainty about what's underneath it. They have done an enormous amount of internal work to get to the point to actually sending something. Everything I described, the feelings that grew past the ordinary original label, the testing, the relief, the private truth about how permanent this already feels to them. All of that has been building toward the moment they finally closed the gap. The message, whatever form it takes, is the surface of something very, very large underneath it. And when it comes, when the honesty finally arrives, when the word they've been carrying around privately finally finds its way out, you are not going to be shocked. Not really, because part of you already knew. You felt this before. You had the proof. You had moments of recognition, moments where something just felt true about this situation, even when you tried to talk yourself out of it. When the confirmation comes, it's going to feel less like a surprise and more like a recognition. Like, yes, I already knew this. I've known for a while. I was just waiting for the evidence to catch up to what I was already feeling. Receive it as yourself when that moment comes. The full version, not a softer or smaller or more convenient version. The driven, self-possessed, fully real version. The one that broke them open without even trying. Because that is the version they fell for. That is the version that made casual impossible. That's the version that made two people separately both arrive at the same truth about you without meaning to. And then accidentally say it out loud in the same conversation at the same time. and feel the weight of it land between them. That's the version that made a secret about you get spoken into the air. A secret that, once it was said, could not be taken back, could not be unfelt, could not be unseen.